Talking politics, cats and dogs. Talking politics, cats and dogs. Talking politics, cats and dogs. Cats and dogs. Hi, my name is April, and welcome to Talking Politics, Cats and Dogs. You may wonder what's going to happen on this channel because dogs and cats don't care about politics. I do have both cats and dogs, and they like to listen to me talk. My dogs may bark in the background, and my cat may walk in front of the camera sometimes, but that's not the point. The point is, while cats and dogs might form a great team of household pets, they don't understand each other very well because they have different perceptions on how to read body language. A dog moving its tail back and forth forcefully and a cat moving its tail back and forth forcefully mean very different things. In U.S. politics, Republicans and Democrats often talk over each other because they have very different perceptions based on massive differences between rural and urban life in America. While both parties have voters in rural and urban areas, as a general trend, rural areas tend to lean Republican and urban areas tend to lean Democrat. The most obvious example I can think of is the issue of guns. I don't think I'm being unfair to say it's a favorite insult for the left-leaning people to characterize all right-leaning people as gun nuts. The biggest difference between those areas is whether or not you could expect help in an emergency. When I was growing up, it was 45 minutes to the nearest hospital. There was a state trooper that lived in a nearby town, but the police barracks was in the same town as the hospital, which was 45 minutes away. At one point, we had a rabid animal wander into our yard. We called my uncle, who lived next door, and he shot it. Then we called animal control and waited for about an hour for them to come. I think that's a pretty typical example of what self-defense is in a rural area. The examples I hear in gun debates is usually someone breaking into a house, and while you wouldn't get help from the police in a rural area just because they would be arriving after the burglar was long gone, I think it's an extreme example. It's like how in abortion debates, the example that's thrown around is a 12-year-old pregnant by grape. And we know it happens, but it's incredibly rare. The typical case is a woman that are old enough to be mothers engaging in consensual sex, but that won't get sympathy in a debate. Most people in rural areas aren't truly worried about home invasion, but they are probably at least shooting warning shots at coyotes who are going after their pets, or they're shooting animals trying to eat their garden, and those scenarios are common, but they don't sound impressive enough for a political debate. On the flip side, if you live in an urban area, you're mostly seeing guns used on people. I don't have exact statistics, and I've been robbed using a machete from Walmart when I lived in a larger city, but typically, robbers are using guns. The positive part of guns in an urban area is you might use a gun to defend yourself, but it's almost always against another human. People also debate on whether cops rely on guns excessively, but my best guess is generally people don't want the police disarmed. I can definitely see in an urban environment people would say that the only purpose of guns is to kill people because guns are almost never used on animals in that environment. I don't think I'm being controversial in saying that these two points of view are very difficult to reconcile. I think there's an additional difficulty for rural people for whom it may be expensive to go to a food bank because of travel costs. But it's very cheap to go shoot a deer. So there's additional emotion because guns can be a food source for some people, which you'll never see in a political debate. On the flip side, which is a very vocal group of people, you'll have school shooting survivors, whose main argument is their trauma wouldn't have happened without people being able to get powerful guns. Even if you have a compelling argument that legal barriers won't prevent shooting, it really doesn't matter, because you can't logic your way out of PTSD. I would never want to prevent those people from speaking, even though I'm a very pro-Second Amendment person, because I feel like what they've been through gives them the right to their opinion. That's all I'm going to get into in the interest of keeping things short, but what do you think? Which side are you on in the gun control debate? And is there anything that someone on the other side has said about this topic that makes you empathize with them? Let me know in the comments, and for the love of God, please register to vote.